I'm Adam Norris with Tone Deaf, and we're here today with Wil Wagner from the Smith Street Band in some kind of crazy little windy back alley in Chippendale. Thanks for coming along and spending time with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's been a busy man today, so we'll kind of launch straight into it. Given that this is album number 4 now in something like 6 years, but there's been EPs in there as well, there's all this touring. I mean, I guess I kind of want to know, what is it that lit the fire under your ass? Like, where did this momentum come from?
I like this passing back and forth situation. To be honest, I started writing songs when I was a very young teenager, and I just love it. It's a very much a form of therapy for me. It's something that helps me understand the world and understand myself. And I started performing when I was 16, and one song into my first show was completely fucking hooked on it. It's an amazing feeling. It's very fun. And now I get to travel around the world and people applaud all of the bad decisions I've made, like dropping out of university. And it's a very good job. It's a very fun way to live your life.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a pretty sweet gig. I've been reading a little bit into the amount of work that you put into it and what your kind of writing practices are. Like, do you still write every day? I imagine that over the years, you start to get a lot of insight into what songwriting is and how it changes for you.
I do still write every day. I feel like it's very important to do so. A guy who I really look up to, Sean Bonnet, who sings in a band called AJJ, he has this thing which I think he read from, he's like a very smart guy who probably read this in a book from some ancient philosopher or something, where he just writes 3 pages every day. And it doesn't have to be prose, it doesn't have to be anything. He just wants to get 3 A4 pages of words out every day. And it's something that I try to do as well. And if you have that stuff, if you're just getting it out, then you're always working, you're always thinking of stuff in a lyrical way. If I see something that is in any way poetic, I'm ready to then write something in my phone that's like, oh, there's a line in that, there's something in that. It's like doing a preseason before playing sport, when you get those sort of beautiful moments of inspiration and songs just kind of come to me. If I've been practicing and I've been writing, I've been working on stuff every day, when that happens, I'm ready and I already have a skeleton in place for the song and I already have these ideas that I can kind of fill out the track with. And it's just I don't know, and I love doing it. People always say, how do you, we do write a lot and I write a lot, and a lot of my other friends who are songwriters sort of say, how do you keep having stuff to write? How do you keep writing? And it's my hobby, I'm very lucky that some people fish, some people play video games, I like writing songs, yeah.
I mean, you said that you kind of try and get maybe the skeleton of a song there. When it came to walking into the new album, I was reading, old interviews with you where you were talking about the things that you were kind of hoping it might move towards, and it might be this, it might be that. I guess when you kind of went in there with your, swag of infinite songs, did you have an idea of what sort of shape, what kind of flavour it was going to be?
I love this. With this album, I really did. This is there's sort of storylines running through a lot of our records, but this album is the closest I'll probably ever get to writing a concept album. It basically tracks a relationship that I had that started well and got progressively worse. It was great for material, let's say. So with this record, I kind of had quite firm and strong ideas in mind, even when I was halfway through writing songs this is the song about this is the song about this. And a lot of the songs were directly inspired by an incident. I can remember, there's a song on the record called 25 that I remember the exact argument that prompted me to go upstairs and write that song, So for this record, there was this kind of a skeleton again in place that I was trying to flesh out with all the songs. I don't know. I feel like every time I talk about writing, it just comes back to the fact that I love doing it. So I do come in with all these different ideas, and then if someone doesn't like one thing in one song, it's whoa, oh great, now I've got an opportunity to change this song. I've got 8 more ideas that I can put in. I've got 10 more different things that I'd like to do. Maybe we can slow down, maybe you can speed up. And then working with the rest of the band and our producer, who are all very creative people, we get into this furor, or whatever you'd say. It just gets so where we're just throwing ideas around, and things just magic kind of happens when we're doing that. That's it's my favorite thing about being in a band, hearing these bare bones ideas that I've sung into the voice memos setting on my phone, walking home from a party or something. Hearing that now recorded with a string section and a choir and 8 different guitar tracks is real dream kind of come true for me. It's such a very rewarding sort of thing to do. Yeah.
I mean, everybody always kind of goes on about, oh, he has, such raw and honest lyrics. And like, yeah, I mean, I think it's totally true. But I don't want to give away anything of the story arc to people who haven't listened yet. But by the end of it, there's this kind of sense of there's hopefulness there. There's this really quite wonderful encounter. But when it comes back to the real life you, when you do kind of dredge this stuff up and write pretty much from life, do you worry of like, how's this going to play out when they hear this? What's this kind of the splashback going to be?
I do. I do and I don't, to be honest. Like, it is something that it's obviously something that I think of, especially when writing things as personal about, maybe not so much about other people, but like there's a song on the new record called It Kills Me to Have to Be Alive. That's basically like a play-by-play of what it's like to be me with my unhappy head, And some of that stuff is like, it's like I don't want my auntie to hear that, Like I don't mind the public hearing that, but now it's like, oh, my cousin that's 12. Do I need to like explain to her what I don't know? You know what I mean? Like it's quite a sort of strange thing. But then also, I mean, I think what people relate to about music is the fact that it is like that, and the things that I'm experiencing are in no way unique to me. Like, I'm not the first person that's had a bad relationship. I'm not the first person that's had anxiety. I'm not the first person that's been sad, So even though the things I write about are quite specific, I feel like the specific nature of them makes them connect with people more because they're things that maybe not everyone is singing about, and they are things that especially a lot of young men are probably embarrassed to talk about, and that's something that I really sort of pride myself on, and something that I really try to do is like, I would like to be a young man talking about mental health stuff and talking about vulnerability and talking about those things, because I think that that's important that people hear that stuff, and I think it's important for other young men to hear that stuff and realize that you don't have to be a tough guy, you don't have to be all these kind of things. So, I mean, it's all a bit of a double-edged sword, like there are some things that I've said in the past that I would love to have unsaid, and there are people that exes I'd probably be better friends with if I had never written mean songs about them. But then maybe they would never have been interested in talking to me at all because I wouldn't have written that initial romantic song about them, So yeah, it's all a bit of a double-edged sword.
You've been pretty vocal about supporting mental health before and drawing attention to anxiety. And you look around and, it's still quite a tense world out there, and that said, we just had the Mardi Gras, and shout out to the Are You OK float, that was cool. I don't know, do you feel like we are starting to kind of chill out? Are we starting to get a little more accepting of mental health now? This is a much broader question outside of the music, but I'm interested in your thoughts.
I do think that we are. I mean, I feel like a lot of the stuff is 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but I feel like, look at, I'm a big AFL fan, for example, and that is definitely a world that is dominated by machismo, whatever, how you ever pronounce that, and quote unquote real men, masculinity and stuff. But I feel like more and more in the last few years, people have been coming out and saying they have depression, they have anxiety, and people have realized that, whereas in the past you'd be like, oh, just man up, just harden up, just all of those sort of horrible phrases, I think people are realizing more and more that it's not a choice to feel like that. Like, no one's going out of their way to feel sad. If I could not feel sad, I would much rather feel sad. So I think that the attitude is changing, but I mean, I feel like in a lot of society, the world is turning maybe in a very slow way, especially it seems like at the moment, towards a better place, and all of the hot button issues, be they to do with feminism, to do with the LGBTI community, to do with mental health, to do with immigration, all of those things, they're still hotly contested topics, and they're still things, and I think that we still have an incredibly long, gay people can't get married in this country. We have a very long fucking way to go. But I do feel like the world is hopefully turning in the right direction, maybe, despite Trump and Brexit and all of those things. But who knows? But going back to mental health, I do feel like it's just a matter of having it understood. And I think the more people, like myself in a tiny way, but like footballers and NRL players and people, the more that they come out and say that it's okay to feel this way, and that there is treatment and there is everything, but there's also like just being a mate to your mates. And whereas in the past, I feel like no one would be saying that, everyone would be saying harden up and those things. Now, it's just more accepted. It's more accepted to feel like that way, and with that means that it's more accepting of other people to say, it's okay that you feel that way. Let's work it out in a way that's not me just telling you you're a fucking wimp kind of thing, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You saved that one for when I was pretty high, so.
The plan all along. Well, I guess probably before we've got to let you go so you can actually fly away home again. I guess to kind of draw it all back to the album, we've talked about it's the sort of the first or the closest you might get to a concept album. It is, I mean, kind of, I guess, that evolution of where the band's been going. You've got Tim Rogers, you've got Laura Stevenson from New York. I guess it's way too early to be kind of talking about what album 5 might resemble. But in terms of at least dream collaborations out there, or, you know, I can't wait to make that bubblegum Western album. Like, well, you know, what do you think would be that next little bucket list?
Album 5 is written and named. I already know what it's going to be called. I already know what it's about. But maybe. But also, I could very easily scrap that entire album and do another album between now and then.
When do you sleep?
In between writing songs. I just love doing it. But I think a dream, maybe not the next Smith Street album, but one day I will make a rap album. Or one day I'll release the rap album I've been slowly making over the last few years, maybe. I love making rap music, but I'm very bad at it, basically. But I guess it started like when Smith Street songs started getting more attention. I needed a way of writing just for myself that I knew no one could ever hear. So I started making like really over-the-top rap music. It's so fun. The album, one day. I mean, album 5, we mixed this last record with the guy John Aniello, who's an incredibly talented person. I'd love to work with him again. I'd love to work with Jeff Rosenstock, who produced the last 2 albums again. I mean, I can't think of anyone I want to collaborate more with than Tim Rogers, who's attainable, you know, like Springsteen's not going to answer my calls, but yeah, maybe. To be honest, there's a guy called Astronautilus, who's an amazing rapper who's now on the same label as us, Side One Dummy in America, who I've been fucking writing songs for ages. I haven't sent him any, but maybe I'll get to do something with him one day. I don't know. It's just fun. It's like I've had all of the collaboration kind of things we've had, you sort of stumble into. So I mean, yeah, in my head right now, I know I can see the album cover for album 5. I know what the title is. I know what the track listing is. Like, it's done. But in the next few years, you know, 3 people might join the Smith Street band. Like, we might really go crazy with something. Like, you know, there are so many different things that we can do. Who knows? Who knows?
And so the album that changed your life, that final wrap-up question, pretty sure we have an idea what it might be, but what was it that moved you so?
The album that changed my life is Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen. It was the first album I remember loving. It's my dad's favorite album, and me and him listened to it a lot. We still do. I've seen Bruce with him now 3 times, and I mean, it's just one of the best albums ever. Like, Born to Run is my favorite song ever. The production on that record's incredible. The songwriting is ludicrous, and it's what first made me fall in love with music, that album, for sure. That and Eminem. But cut that last bit out.
It's a pretty fine sentiment. Well, Will, thank you for coming, spending time with us here at Tone Deaf, and for getting high in an alley.
Thank you. My pleasure. I would have been doing it anyway, so it's nice to do it for TV.
for a greater good.